Okay, it's Wednesday, February 3rd, 2020, and we're gonna start Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen meeting. It's 5:01. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2, approval of the minutes, Select Board Meeting 1/20/2021.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. We all vote in favor. Review of treasurer's warrants, payroll 7 and 10, and accounts payable 8 and 9.
Make a motion to approve A and B as read.
Second.
We vote, all in favor. We have no guests, so there'll be no open session. Old business, CD renewal.
You wanted to talk about what we might be able to do with the CD in terms of,
Yeah,
well, FDIC.
Yeah. we've never really chased FDIC insurance, and I'm not saying we need to, but it should be on the record that anything beyond 250,000 is at risk. If the local credit union, if that's where you have all your money, and they were to become insolvent, that money is at risk. I don't think the three of us would have liability under that circumstance, but I'm not positive of that. And maybe that would be something to ask MMA, because I know we do have liability with regard to investments, but I don't know if there's
That
like a
type of
threshold of,
Risk
right.
liability.
Is it incumbent upon us to divide it between different institutions? Is it that level of liability? We should probably know that.
Yes, we should.
Now, Mike, do you know whether it could be split? Is it total, no matter what accounts you have, let's say at the credit union?
It's with each institution,
Okay, so
In fact-
250 is the threshold,
with FDIC.
right?
SIPC is different. SIPC is for brokerage,
Oh, okay,
and that might be a solution for us if, for example, they came back and said, yeah, I don't think I'd be comfortable, or you guys could be personally responsible. The solution for that might be an account at Fidelity or Schwab or something like that. But yeah, even if I were managing your portfolio and I bought you CDs from Bank of America, individually, I wouldn't exceed 250 on those within the portfolio that I'm managing. That's
Right,
how.
right.
So
I
it
see.
goes with the institution.
I see. Huh,
So it's just, I just came,
yeah,
it's always been in one, or pretty much in one bank, and it's never, I just thought we should know.
right. But even way back before we put it in a CD, was it always at the credit union?
No.
No.
It was,
Oh,
Was it Camden?
It was at Camden. Prior to
okay.
that, it'd been at Key.
Yeah.
So, but it was always that chunk of money,
Oh, yeah, it was all.
it's basically always, anytime it was over 250, you had the same risk, whether it was
Right.
in a CD or not.
okay.
But it's always been in one spot.
Sure,
That's
sure.
never been
Well, we
split
have the
up.
same
Yeah.
issue with Camden
Absolutely.
when everything comes in. For a while there, you've got,
Yeah,
I'm-
that's true, that's a good point.
I'm not alleging that any of the institutions that we've named are,
Right.
no.
but I would like to know from the point of view of a selectman,
Correct.
what your personal liability is.
Yep.
Because I know if we bought cattle futures and it didn't work out, we could actually personally be liable,
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Always wanted a place on
Keep us
Center
out of
Pond.
trouble.
That's kind of just it, yeah.
County tax, I think,
We tabled it last time. The only thing that we had failed to take into account is town valuation. It could be big.
yeah, once we looked at the file that you had sent us, none of us really had a chance to look at it before last meeting. It was pretty clear that our valuation had gone up, and that accounted for nearly the entire increase. Their actual budget didn't really go up that much.
No, it's pretty usual. It's a lot of it's payroll.
Yeah,
Some of it is the new building, but, it wasn't extravagant or,
no,
So, we'll go ahead and sign that.
I would, yeah,
Okay.
one of us, I make a motion that we sign the the Piscataquis County Assessor's return for the sum of $144,003.
Second.
Any further discussion? No, it's interesting, the county now is about $1.5 million, just the county.
That's, yeah.
Okay, we all vote? We are in favor? We're not in favor, but we're gonna do it.
We're not.
We all agree we have to pay it?
Yes, we all, yeah, they have us over a
Yeah.
barrel. New business, audit results.
We finished our audit last week, and for a while there, I didn't think we were ever going to finish it. I can't say I'm a fan of sending them everything and then talking to them on the phone. It's better if they come here and, but.
Which is what they normally would have done.
We normally
Yeah.
would have done. But we did a pre-audit, and then they forgot to send us the package saying what else they needed for the audit. So Friday, when they were going to do the audit Monday, they emailed us and said, "We haven't received your packet." And I said, "You haven't requested any."
Oh, no.
But we got it all set up. We have a few minor adjustments to do, nothing major. The one thing I wanted to talk about is we have two different kinds of funds that are designated to go into another, to stay with that account at the end of the year. One is education, the other is animal control. Education this year, we do have some money that will roll because we committed our taxes before the budget actually passed. And then animal control, I wasn't really clear how this worked. I thought everything we took in for licenses went to this fund. Well, it turns out that it's only a portion of each license. And for instance, if you have a neutered dog, you pay $6. Out of that $6, the state gets $3. We get $1 as a clerk fee, and then the other $2 has to go into that account. Our trio wasn't set up to track that accurately, so I think we fixed that. Anything that's a late fee goes into that account, and it's only an account that runs between $500 and $1,000 a year. It's not big money.
And then, does that money go to the animal control officer?
That you pay him out of.
Okay, yeah.
But we never take in enough to pay him, so
That's
So
what
Out
I-
of
this helps
that account.
offset.
it just helps.
Yeah.
Offset.
But it's always been like that as far as the distribution of the collective, and if the trail wasn't set up properly.
Yeah, so then, if it's unneutered, the state, it's $11, the state gets $10, the clerk gets $1, nothing goes into that fund.
Oh, jeez.
If you've got a dangerous dog, it's $100 to license that dog. 98 of it goes into that fund, 2 goes to the clerk, and nothing goes to the state. I mean,
So we pay animal control out of that account.
we pay animal control, but no, not directly out of that account, but those
Okay,
funds.
that's why I was gonna say, because we always carry forward this account.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I have to carry it forward and say, this is revenue, and it's solely for animal control, but because you spend more on animal control, it doesn't.
But we're not, well, we have an animal control budget. Should it be reduced by that amount every year so that we're accounting for that money?
No, I don't believe so. But the education one is interesting because you have to count it in your revenues, but I haven't seen where it hits, you know, the commitment form that you all sign and we do the calculations. It does, you don't reduce the number there. I would think you would, because you should, shouldn't
But I
you?
don't think we've ever had a carry forward on that one. We've carried forward on the
There's
animal
money-
control,
There's
many.
money sitting in there.
Now, when you say
Really?
education, are you talking about our,
You raise like 800,000 for education.
right.
Well, this year, when budgeting, I called them and they said, well, worst case scenario is gonna go up $4,000. So that's what I plugged in. And then when it got to budget time, they had pared down their budget. So it turns out we raised a little over 15,000 extra. That has to go into a fund, a designated reserve, a designated fund, so that it doesn't get mixed into the general fund balance. And we have to spend that on education, but the mechanisms are, I really think on that form that we should be taking it off.
I agree.
If the budget is
Yeah.
800,000 this year, we take 15,000 off the
15 off.
top and we put that,
Right, 'cause if you don't, you're actually
Or,
leaving it in.
or we,
right,
You're
you're
leaving it in
never,
general fund,
you
if you
never-
don't do that.
you're
or we
never-
somewhere document that we reduce what we asked for
Right.
by that amount.
Right.
That's
Otherwise,
I think.
you're
I
just
think
building
that's
the
what
kitty.
The auditor's actually saying is if you count it in revenues, even though you didn't reduce this number, you've added it.
But if you don't do that, you're not carrying it forward.
I know. That's what I,
I mean,
he and I have to talk about it again.
Well, I don't see really a lot of difference between that and animal control, it's just smaller numbers.
Right,
It
right,
is just true.
But if the animal control,
It's the
if
same
if we
thing,
get
same as
$200,
correct.
same as that.
it should be accounted for.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it just becomes part of the general
it
Right.
does. So I'll
Which is-
talk to the,
desire.
And why you
Oh,
put
they're
it,
against
put it
more.
aside? Why
the
you
other
can have it-
issue is unsurprisingly, the licensed plumbing inspector. We have issues with how that runs through Trio, and we're going to have to set up a little more control, because the auditor said, well, it's off $200. I'm like, okay. So I went and we found what the $200 is, but your LPI turns in his stuff, it has to be entered right then, he wants his money, the state takes their money at the end of the month, every month it should balance out. Whatever you took in should go out to the state, and they should balance, and you should have a zero. So we're gonna have to pay a little more, closer attention.
Do we know why we were off by 200?
Yes, because here's again, it's one of those things where it's separated into accounts. And 25% of a bunch of the fees goes to the state. 75% goes to your LPI. And anytime you have a water test, the $15 goes to the state, so.
No, it's different.
So it's
Well,
two different accounts.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
Two times they got them reversed.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Well, at least
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know what it is, and, yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
So, and again, we're not talking big money
Right,
here, but you just
right.
wanna know.
No, but that's why it's better to get Trio set up, because what ends up happening is you end up between your time and the girls' times, you end up spending more in labor
Yeah.
to try to find that
Well, I had-
$200.
Well, not only that, but this, I've seen these discussions, everybody will raise their hand and pass 400,000 like it's nothing. But if you can't answer the question on $15 or $20,
You're done.
you're in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys got to the bottom of it, sounds like,
Yeah, we
that's good.
found all of it, but it's like, it shouldn't be complicated. But it
No,
is.
Yeah,
So-
lot of moving
So there
parts.
were no major problems, and,
good,
we should have our short report next week.
great.
So,
Do we post that?
we put it, the short report always goes into the town report.
Town report. Are we gonna, I'm getting up, are we going to delay the town report until we can have a meeting, or,
We
I mean, the
have
budget's
to,
been
right?
passed.
Because we don't know what the warrants are gonna.
Yeah, but your warrant, no.
Your budget is passed as of last year, but you may end up in the summer in a situation where when you can have a meeting, you may need to do something differently.
Right, but how does that, our town report though, there are gonna be people looking for that this spring, even if you didn't have a meeting. It's something to think about. The budget's passed, we can explain why we did, in fact, there's a great opportunity in the town report to have a letter, why we did what we did. And we, some of the things that we plan to address, we can have a meeting again, and we've got quite a few things. But maybe, I don't know, I'm open to talk about it, but I'm thinking we might wanna just,
I don't know that your warrant actually has to be in your town report.
Right, there could be two separate standalone items. The warrant, when and if you have the meeting, you publish
Post
the warrants.
Yeah.
it's a good way to communicate with everybody as to what has transpired over the last year. And if we wait, let's say we don't have a meeting till August, that's quite a long time without any communication as far as, now we could put all that on the website, I guess, but. I think, of the
We
book.
generally put the PDF form of the.
Yes, yep.
On there, so everybody.
I think we ought to at least do that. My only thing is if you do use that book as a good tool for conversation and for getting the information out, if you do wanna do something in August.
Well, I guess the thing, if we have a meeting, we'll just stick with August. That's not our annual town meeting. That is a town meeting. But the annual town meeting, the budget's passed. There will be no vote to pass a 2021 budget. It's done. Is that, I mean, that's what the
No,
three of
it's
us
I
did.
mean, I
It's
think
true.
it's semantics as
Now, we
far
may
as
address
annual.
other items.
Right.
Right,
Well, and take it a step further, I know we have plenty of items, but if we had nothing that required a vote, we wouldn't have a town meeting in August, because we already did the town's business.
Right.
And if we all agree on that, then why wouldn't we proceed with the town report?
It's almost completely done.
there
Good,
you go.
I did not finish my piece just because I was waiting to see what we were thinking,
Right.
but almost all the other pieces are done and proofread, and the warrant isn't. I have things like the cemetery articles that I got MMA's advice on and decided that I didn't
Right, but all that stuff you don't need anyway,
like it at all.
cause you don't even put a warrant in there.
no?
No,
No,
but now we don't need them.
I mean, really, all you're gonna put in there is last year's expenditures and
Yep,
reprint of the entire section of last year's budget.
right, and we weren't allowed really to deviate from it, and we should explain that, you know. in-
Nothing changed in the meeting of last year so I mean, it's gonna be
Right,
exactly how
right.
it was printed in last year's budget.
Correct.
I was trying to,
Correct,
Right.
nothing got
There were no
lowered or-
alterations that
No,
were made.
and any alterations would require a meeting,
Right,
and until we can have one, we
No,
won't.
I know, but I just.
But,
want
I mean, we
everybody-
would convey that to them.
Yep,
Um,
I can
So
get right on that.
I would say just keep plowing ahead, when you're ready,
yeah.
print it, and we'll announce it, and there'll be a lot of people that wanna see it. And if the three of us wanna work on we should have a letter in there.
Yep.
You know, at least explaining, you know, why we did what we did, and we probably ought to update it's a great time to update on the town office plans, we've all been kind of.
That would be nice.
We've had that on the back burner, just look at those numbers, put something together there,
Might be the best place to put that, actually, for now.
yeah.
Get it out there so people can see it.
Yeah, we've got enough stuff to.
We got some pretty good illustrations that some people haven't seen,
Mm-hmm.
get those in there. Alright, cool.
Yeah.
B, Knowlton Mills and Road and Cemetery.
We didn't discuss this last time, this has happened in between. There was a complaint that there was trash on the side of the road.
is that what those pictures were?
That's what those pictures were. Somebody had, it looked like somebody cleaned out a dorm room or an apartment and decided anything they didn't want, they just threw the bags and boxes on the side of the road. There's also a spot in the back corner of the cemetery where somebody had a fire
Oh, gosh.
and obviously hung out for a while. I called the sheriff's department. They picked up most of the trash and found a name in it.
Yep, it always,
And
Yep.
called the person, and I don't know exactly what happened. I think what they said was, you know, you have the next hour to get this stuff out of here, or I'm throwing the book at you, kind of thing. But, so it was resolved.
good.
But the other thing we need to think about is we have issues with the cemetery every year. People go in, they ride vehicles up in the back of the cemetery and go mudding, and now somebody's having can't say a bonfire, but a fire up there.
So we talked about this last year, the road
We did.
itself is not in good shape because people are plowing it or driving through there in the wintertime and
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be open in the winter.
so I looked up,
They're privately, they're personally plowing it themselves.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, they want access to
there
whatever,
there are
maybe it's a
people-
shortcut
yeah,
home.
It's a shortcut
Yeah.
to where people are headed.
Ah. Huh.
I
There's
know
a
our
pit down in
level
there
of,
too, isn't there?
yeah, I mean, I know on our side, we're not supposed to maintain it.
Right, right.
It's closed to winter maintenance.
Correct. But does that mean we can block it?
Well, that's what I looked up.
Is it closed to winter use?
That's
Well, no,
correct.
No,
That's-
well, yes, okay. So.
I mean, what level is the town of liability if we're not maintaining it in the winter and people driving?
Well,
We
it's
talked
it's one
about
thing to
that.
not maintain, it's another thing to say we wanna protect it.
Correct,
And those aren't necessarily the same thing.
correct.
So all of the manual addresses is, if you close it for winter maintenance, there's some confusion about who can use the roads that have been closed to winter maintenance. It is not uncommon for private citizens to volunteer to plow a closed road at their own expense in order to use the road for logging or some other purpose. But we recommend that the municipality not authorize or condone plowing such roads for easier access. The reason for this advice is that a plowed road may appear open and safe to passersby when it is in fact poorly plowed and hazardous to travel. The municipality would likely be sued in the event of an injury, and even if not liable, it would incur legal fees in defending itself. The safe approach is to disallow closed roads to be privately plowed. Snowmobiles and all-terrain vehicles are a different matter. In both cases, snowmobiles and ATVs may operate on any public way which has been closed for winter maintenance. Maine law is silent about whether other vehicles may use snowbound roads that have been closed for the winter. Now, I drove down there, and it hasn't been plowed this year, but there wasn't enough snow at that point that it made going down there.
No, but what the problem, in my opinion, when you're driving on it, even if it's not plowed, you're driving across it and
No, I know.
differently, and, I mean, we had a lot of erosion down through there and everything last year.
But what wasn't addressed was can we close it?
Yeah.
And then we, I don't know whether we want it or not, but.
You could barricade it, leave a 4.5 foot hole in the center for a snowmobile,
Yeah, yeah,
You could do
you know what
that.
I mean?
yeah.
Yep.
You could.
But you also could create a situation where people are driving their four-wheel drive trucks around your barricades, you're gonna put up cables, you know, just, how far are you gonna go with it?
Correct, it could get very clunky.
Yep.
Mm.
And, again, we don't even know if we're allowed to do it,
Right.
but we should check it out. I'm not saying I necessarily wanna do it, I just would like to know what we can do.
It's interesting, and I mean, they come right down and tell you that there is a level of, there's a level of liability, even if it doesn't cost you money, you're still paying legal fees.
Yeah.
Cause I can definitely see that, you know, you may have somebody from out of town or whatever up here riding and, oh, plowed road, not even thinking anything about it, and, you know, there's no sand, there's no nothing, if they got in an accident, then.
That's where you don't get permission.
Yeah,
Correct, but you
If
still.
they're plowing it on their own, our liability, it sounds like is
Sure, but
little
you,
to none.
well, you're gonna incur all kinds of legal fees, though.
Well, only if we gave permission. If we,
For them.
No, that's not what she said.
that is what she said.
Yeah, it's as if we
Do not give permission,
Correct.
because if it's not done up to
Correct,
snuff,
that's what it
you will
said.
get,
Correct.
but if we don't give permission,
and somebody goes ahead and
And they
does
just plow it?
and we don't know it.
we're okay. Cause we didn't bless it.
will know because somebody
No.
will tell us.
Well, then the only option would be to blockade it, and we
Right.
don't know that you can do that.
We don't know that we can do that.
But we know giving permission heightens our liability.
Correct.
But,
And I don't know whether to give it, although we did on West Road for years. And probably should have. But those
Well,
are,
we did we?
yeah, we said the only way you can get in there is you plow it yourself.
I don't know if we actually publicly said that, I mean, I think we just blind eyed it. I think they were just doing it, it's no different than part of the, other areas, I mean, you got the boat landing roads and things like that, that people partially were plowing. It's not really any different.
Yeah, if we didn't give permission, it would be no different.
Correct.
But if somebody came to a meeting and said, hey, you know, we've been plowing that road and we don't wanna plow it anymore, the only answer would have been,
you shouldn't have been plowing.
you're
in the
not supposed to be
first
plowing it at all.
That's right,
Very true.
that's right.
place. But there are gravel bits in there, I mean,
You know, be getting gravel out of there in the middle of winter.
no, I know you're not.
Doesn't really
And
make any
cemeteries
difference
are-
either.
And cemeteries are technically closed.
Everything on
during
that
the
road
winter.
is closed during the winter.
I mean, just because, somebody has a private property of value, they wanna access it. If we had posted our roads because of weight, you wouldn't be able to go in there with a
Correct.
vehicle. You know,
Doesn't matter.
yeah. I think we should know if we even have the authority. They may tell us that the law is unclear.
Right,
Yeah,
and the
I'm
other
sure.
question
Cover
is
this.
whether signage, this road is closed. And that, so when people then trespass or go past the sign, at least we, we're saying it's closed as far as we're concerned.
It's a bad road in spring. It shouldn't be driven on, and it gets driven on every year.
Well, that's the other thing, it should be closed during mud season because it just gets destroyed.
Well, I
Ideally-
think road closures through April or May, I can't remember now. October.
Well, it's only open for summer maintenance and is not
Here it
accessible
is.
until dry season. I mean,
The law specifies
Right.
that these steps be taken between May and October, so it's not the actual closing, it's the step of.
The what? Step?
Closing roads for winter
Oh.
maintenance, it requires 4 steps. The law specifies that some of these steps be taken between May and October. Like, that's why when we thought about closing the West Road, we couldn't do it because we had a week until
right.
October 1st.
But I bet there's a state statute somewhere that tells you that summer maintenance is X to A to B and winter is,
The,
Yeah.
right,
I'll look.
the dates.
yeah.
And then I don't know, I got a suggestion to put trail cameras up in the cemetery. I'm not sure that
No,
that.
yeah, no. Now, what are we gonna do with the info?
Yeah.
Yeah, we put them down to the beach, put them
Yeah.
to gazebo, on and on and on.
Well,
Can't
It can happen in
enforce it.
any cemetery or doesn't
Yeah.
make any difference.
I know that a local club had
Yikes.
used them to try to get somebody who was doing donuts in their yard, and frankly, you couldn't get a good, clear picture of
Right,
of the license plate.
right.
Couldn't,
And by the time somebody's,
yeah, didn't work well.
Okay. Item 7, town manager's report.
I didn't have
That's
much. Obviously, Abby Fowler's down. Whoa. And I haven't had any further updates on that. I did get a call this week, Monday, because it was 10 below, and we had a leaky pipe in the fire department. The water district was coming in to do their monthly test, and they found it, notified me. I have a plumber who's going to come back and fix it. It's in a 2-inch pipe, and he didn't have 2-inch pipe with him, so he had to order it, and it's not a big fix. Could have been bad, because it's,
That happens again, holler.
okay.
Probably not. But if we have an emergency like that, if you need something,
We've just turned off the water. I called Chad and said, you need to tell all your firefighters this so that there's not a big performance when there's no water there, because all it is turning the, turning it back on.
Right.
It's not a big fix, but
Was it due to a freeze?
I can't tell. I think it's because it's an old iron pipe. and
Oh, it's an
rusted.
iron. Oh
We'll
boy,
replace it with something that is less likely to rust. And,
got it.
but that shouldn't be a big deal, and it should be taken care of next week, or sometime next week when the pipe comes in. And that is all I had on the town manager's report. Road commissioner report. We spoke last time about the fact that Aggressive Cuts is done for the winter doing brush cutting. They have not turned in a invoice for Flanders Hill and told me they were unlikely to. I think I should go up and measure and send them send them their money. It's,
We get a lot of time invested in getting these roads done, so.
yeah, and so,
Why did she indicate that they weren't likely to send us an invoice?
Rick said it to me, and he came in and he was just, he felt bad because he couldn't finish it.
Well, he's gotta get paid for what he did.
No, yeah.
He's a pretty decent guy.
Yeah, he sure is.
He didn't want us to feel like we've been taking advantage of, like, so. But we don't need to take advantage of our contractors either.
That's right.
So I will go up and measure and make sure.
Yeah, maybe if you, can you include an invoice, ask him to sign it, send it back or something? Do you
Yeah.
need an invoice?
Well, I mean, we have,
You have the contract, I
We have
mean,
a
you already
con-
have an agreement with it.
well, we have an agreement.
Oh,
so,
okay,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
then you're probably good then.
you know,
Yeah.
I'll look at the last invoice and just make sure that we're
Good.
all good there. And that is it.
Correspondence?
No.
None? Request for additional agenda items?
No,
Let's set a record. Selectmen's concerns?
no.
Hearing, seeing none. No executive session.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second? All in favor? It's 5:33. We are adjourned.